Hello, and welcome back to Audiobooks in Minutes, a place where we distill the wisdom of great books into focused, actionable insights for your life. If you're just joining us, we are in the middle of a deep dive into Robert Greene's modern classic, The 48 Laws of Power. In Part 1, we uncovered the first 16 laws, a masterclass in managing superiors, building a reputation, and navigating the intricate social chessboard of life. If you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend you pause here and watch it first. The link is in the description below. Understanding those foundational laws is crucial as we now advance into even more nuanced and potent strategies. In this session, we will decode laws 17 through 32. These laws move beyond individual tactics into grander strategies of timing, perception, and long-term dominance. The game of power is about to get more profound. So, let's continue our journey. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Humans are creatures of habit who find comfort in patterns. When you are predictable, you become controllable. To keep people off balance and prevent them from anticipating your moves, behave in ways that are deliberately erratic and unpredictable. A calculated act of temper, an unexpected kindness, a sudden withdrawal. These keep your rivals in a state of suspended terror, constantly guessing and never able to formulate a solid defense. Think of the great strategist Muhammad Ali. His rope-a-dope tactic in the Rumble in the Jungle was a masterpiece of unpredictability. He abandoned his classic dancing style to lean on the ropes, looking vulnerable, letting George Foreman exhaust himself throwing punches. It was a complete departure from expectation that led to a stunning victory. In the office, the boss whose reactions are always slightly unknown commands more attention and caution than the one who is consistently cheerful or consistently grumpy. Be like water, formless and adaptable, and you'll keep everyone on their toes. Law 18. Do not build a fortress to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. It may seem safe to withdraw and build a moat around your position, but isolation cuts you off from valuable information and makes you a target. Power is a function of social interaction and networks. You must be in the thick of things, circulating, hearing gossip, and building alliances. The castle walls you build for protection can become your prison. History is littered with the downfall of isolated rulers. The last Tsar of Russia, Nicholas II, isolated himself and his family in the palace of Tsarskoye Selo, surrounded by sycophants and cut off from the brutal reality of his people's suffering. This ignorance led directly to the Bolshevik Revolution and his eventual execution. In the modern world, the CEO who only listens to a small inner circle or the professional who never networks is building their own fortress and their own doom. Stay connected. Information is the currency of power. Law 19. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. This law is a stark warning about discernment. Not everyone reacts the same way. You can play games with some people, but others possess a quiet, simmering power and a long memory for slights. If you offend or deceive such a person, they will wait for years for the perfect moment to take their revenge. You must learn to judge character. Identify the ruthless, the patient, and the proud, and be exceptionally careful around them. This is the story of the scorpion and the frog, but from the frog's perspective. The frog knew the scorpion's nature, but gave it a ride anyway, with fatal consequences. A classic historical example is the Roman Emperor Justinian and his wife Theodora. A powerful noble once insulted Theodora's lowly origins. She never forgot. Years later, when she had consolidated her power, she orchestrated the noble's complete ruin and execution. He offended the wrong person. In your career, before you engage in a power play, ask yourself, does this person have the will and the means to destroy me later? If the answer is yes, tread carefully. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone or anything. This is the law of supreme independence. By staying uncommitted, you preserve your freedom and keep your options open. You maintain the power to be courted by all sides. When you commit to one person, one side, or one plan, you lose leverage and become a pawn in their game. Let others fight for your favor, and you'll always be in a position of strength. This was the cornerstone of the foreign policy of small but powerful city-states, like Venice during the Renaissance. They never entered permanent alliances, instead playing the great powers of France, Spain, and the Ottomans against each other, always offering their support to the highest bidder. This ensured their survival and prosperity for centuries. In your life, this could mean not publicly aligning with one faction in a company merger, or not revealing your final offer in a negotiation until you've heard all others. Be a free agent. Your power lies in your ability to walk away. Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. No one enjoys feeling less intelligent than someone else. The easiest way to disarm a rival is to appear less threatening, less sharp, and more naive than you are. When people believe they are smarter than you, they let their guard down, revealing their schemes and weaknesses. Your apparent simplicity is the perfect cloak for your cleverness. This is the country bumpkin strategy. The great financier Baron Rothschild used this to perfection. After the Battle of Waterloo, knowing that the future of European finance hinged on the outcome, he positioned himself on the English coast. When the first ship arrived with news, he looked despondent and began selling his consols, government bonds. Everyone assumed he had inside knowledge of a British defeat, and a panic sell-off began. Rothschild's agents, however, were quietly buying up everything at bottom prices. When the news of the actual British victory was confirmed, the market soared, and Rothschild multiplied his fortune exponentially. He played the sucker to catch a world full of suckers. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. When you are weaker, never fight for honor's sake. It is a quick path to annihilation. Instead, choose to surrender. Surrender gives you time to recover, time to wait for your opponent's power to wane, and time to plot your next move. By yielding, you disarm the enemy of their reason to attack you, as you have already been defeated. This is the principle of the willow tree in a storm. The rigid oak tree snaps, while the flexible willow bends and survives. The classic example is the rise of the Han Dynasty in China. After a disastrous defeat by the nomadic Xiongnu, the Han Emperor sued for peace, offering tribute and a royal marriage, a humiliating surrender. For decades, the Han played this subservient role, all the while building up their army, studying their enemy, and reforming their state. When the time was right, they emerged with overwhelming force and crushed the Xiongnu, securing their borders for generations. Sometimes, the path to ultimate victory requires a strategic step backward. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Conserve your forces and energy by keeping them concentrated at their strongest point. You gain more by finding a rich mine and mining it deeper than by flitting from one shallow mine to another. Power is built by focusing on a single goal, a single source of influence, and dominating it completely. Diffusion is the enemy of power. This is the military doctrine of the concentration of force. Napoleon Bonaparte, despite being often outnumbered in overall troops, would win battles by concentrating his forces on a key segment of the enemy line, breaking through and then rolling up the rest of the army from the flank. In business, this is Apple's strategy in its golden years, releasing a single, perfectly crafted product line and dominating the market, rather than flooding it with dozens of mediocre options. Find your core strength, your key objective, and pour all your resources into it. Victory comes from focus. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. The court is not just a historical relic, it exists in every corporation, every social group, every university department. This law provides a blueprint for thriving in a world governed by strict, unspoken codes of conduct. The perfect courtier masters the arts of indirection, praises others by allowing them to praise themselves, and never aligns too firmly with any one patron. They are social chameleons, adaptable, graceful, and always in control of their emotions. Think of figures like Baltasar Castiglione, author of The Book of the Courtier, who defined the Renaissance ideal of the effortless, multi-talented, and graceful courtier. Or in modern times, consider a high-level diplomat or a supremely successful executive assistant. They know where all the bodies are buried, who to flatter, who to avoid, and how to get things done without ever issuing a direct order. They wield immense power by mastering the social machinery of the court. Law 25. Recreate yourself. Do not accept the role that society has given you. Forge a new identity that commands attention and refuses to be categorized. Master your image by shaping it as a conscious work of art. Be dramatic. Be iconic. This law is about self-creation, about becoming the author of your own life. The ultimate example is the artist Madonna. She has constantly shed her skin, reinventing her music, her image, and her public persona every few years, from the boy toy to the glamorous material girl to the spiritual ray of light and beyond. Each reinvention captured public attention, made her previous incarnations obsolete, and kept her relevant for decades. In your own life, don't be afraid to shed an old identity that no longer serves you. Craft a personal brand that is unique, powerful, and entirely your own. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. You must be seen as a paragon of civility and efficiency. To maintain a spotless reputation, you must use cat's paws, scapegoats, fall guys, and proxies to do your dirty work for you. You conceal your involvement in unpleasant deeds, and you always have a convenient scapegoat to take the blame when things go wrong. This is the strategy of the puppet master. Queen Elizabeth I of England was a master of this. When her cousin, Mary, Queen of Scots, became a political liability, Elizabeth knew executing her would cause a massive scandal. She kept Mary imprisoned for years, and when the pressure to act became too great, she allowed her ministers to convince her to sign the death warrant. After the execution, she claimed it was done without her full consent and publicly punished the minister who delivered the warrant, preserving her own clean hands and innocence in the eyes of many. Law 27. Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. People have a desperate need to believe in something. Become the focal point of this need by offering a cause, a new ideal, or a vision that promises glory and heaven on earth. Keep your promises vague but full of potential, and use dramatic, mesmerizing language to captivate your followers. Your followers will then proselytize for you, creating a self-sustaining cycle of devotion. This isn't just about religious cults. Steve Jobs was a master of this. He didn't just sell computers, he sold a revolution, a vision of thinking different. He created a reality distortion field, and his followers, employees, and customers alike believed they were part of a crusade to change the world. They weren't buying a product, they were buying an identity and a belief system. Find a way to tap into this deep-seated human need, and you will command not just obedience, but fervent loyalty. Law 28. Enter action with boldness. If you are unsure of a course of action, do not attempt it. Your doubts and hesitations will infect your execution. Timidity is dangerous. It is always better to be bold. Boldness strikes fear. It paralyzes an opponent and covers for your mistakes. No one admires the timid. We are captivated by the audacious. Compare the fates of two explorers, Robert Falcon Scott and Roald Amundsen, in the race to the South Pole. Scott's expedition was plagued by hesitation, poor planning, and a lack of boldness. Amundsen's was a model of decisive, bold action, adopting the superior methods of the Inuit and pushing forward with unwavering confidence. Amundsen reached the pole first and returned safely. Scott and his team perished. In your career, if you have a proposal, present it with conviction. If you want a promotion, ask for it with confidence. Boldness has a genius, power, and magic to it. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. The ending is everything. Do not be caught up in the initial thrill of victory or the fog of battle. You must plan for the long-term consequences, visualizing every possible outcome, every potential backlash, and every move your rivals will make after your first move. Your plan must be a complete story, with a final chapter that secures your power permanently. This is the difference between a tactician and a strategist. A tactician wins a battle, a strategist wins the war. The Allies in World War II didn't just plan for D-Day. They planned for the occupation and reconstruction of Germany and Japan, ensuring they would not rise again as hostile powers. A direct application of Law 15. In a business context, launching a successful product is only the first step. You must have a plan for competitors' reactions, market saturation, and the next generation of the product. Think of the final result before you begin. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Like a swan gliding gracefully on the water, your actions must appear calm and effortless, while you paddle like mad underneath the surface. This conceals the clever tricks and the hard labor that went into your success, creating a sense of divine ease that is both intimidating and awe-inspiring. It makes you seem naturally superior. This was the essence of sprezzatura for the Renaissance courtier, a studied carelessness. The great jazz musician Miles Davis embodied this. On stage, he would often turn his back to the audience, playing with an almost casual coolness, never letting the audience see the immense technical skill and emotional intensity required to create such sublime music. He made genius look easy. In your work, avoid talking about your late nights and struggles. Let the flawless final product speak for itself, and people will assume you are a natural-born genius. Law 31. Control the options. Get others to play with the cards you deal. The best way to get what you want is to give people a choice. But you are the one who designs the choices. By structuring the options so that every choice benefits you, no matter what the other person decides. You are in control. They feel empowered, but you are the puppet master. This is the illusion of choice. A parent might ask a child, "Do you want to put your pajamas on now or in 5 minutes?" The child feels a sense of agency, but the outcome, wearing pajamas, is never in doubt. In history, when Julius Caesar was poised to seize power, he presented the Roman Senate with a choice: make me dictator or face civil war. Both options led to his ascension. In a modern negotiation, instead of asking, "What do you want?" present 2 or 3 structured proposals that all work in your favor. You control the game by designing the board. Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. The truth is often unpleasant, avoidable, and boring. Do not fight this reality. Instead, become a merchant of fantasy. Tap into the desires of others by selling them romanticized visions of the world. People will flock to the one who offers them romance, mystery, and glamour, and they will turn a blind eye to the most glaring lies. This is the law of the entertainer and the con artist. The success of the Titanic was not just its engineering. It was the fantasy of unsinkable, luxurious transatlantic travel it sold to its passengers. A more modern example is the entire influencer culture on social media, where curated, idealized lives attract millions of followers who buy into the fantasy. If you can tell a compelling story that taps into what people wish were true, you can lead them anywhere. Conclusion. These laws reveal that power is as much about psychology and perception as it is about concrete action. It's about mastering the theater of the mind, controlling the narrative, and thinking several moves ahead on the chessboard of life. But our journey is not yet complete. The final installment, Part 3, awaits, where we will unravel the last and perhaps most potent 16 laws. In that video, we will explore laws on mastering time, despising the free lunch, and the ultimate strategies for consolidating your power legacy. Thank you for listening to Audiobooks in Minutes. If this content is providing you value, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the final chapter of the series. The knowledge you gain here is a shield. Use it to understand the world, to protect yourself, and to navigate your path to success with your eyes wide open. Until next time.